Now, first of all, Gino, what is ICLEI?
Thank you very much for inviting me here. ICLEI is a local government association. So we unite more than 1,000 cities around the world and assist them with very concrete projects on how to achieve sustainability within their areas.
And we're here talking about sustainability, we're talking about biodiversity, we're talking about climate change. What is the link between cities and these environmental issues? Why are cities important in these conversations?
Well, first of all, right now, although cities only occupy 1.3% of the entire Earth, it is a house to half of the population today. And we will have a trend in the future where even another 3.5 billion people will come to cities. So obviously, it is a place that is consuming lots of energy. Actually, more than 73% of all energy is being consumed in cities, but therefore also contributes vastly to the CO2 emissions. And if you then combine this trend with a next trend, namely looking into how to reduce poverty, we have still more than 1 billion people living on less than $2 a day. So combine this with a rapid urbanization, with other people coming in, how can local leaders deal with that? And then if you then bring in another trend where energy demand, we know that in the next 30 years, because also of the rapid urbanization, because of middle class income raising, we know that the demand for energy will increase with more than 30%. But at the same time, we also know that because of global warming, we should not be using more than 1/3 of the proven oil and, in general, fossil fuel reserves. So that brings us to the fact that cities and local leaders have to rethink entirely. They must construct infrastructure to accommodate the increased population. They must construct this infrastructure in a different way than we have done before, meaning that our buildings should produce energy and not consume energy, meaning that we should carry not carry, but bring a change into our mobility structure. So prioritizing public transportation with clean vehicles, clean fuels, and basically banning, of course, the private cars that are driving on fossil fuels. So these things are important challenges for local leaders, and that's where it comes, of course, that cities are part of the problem, certainly, but they can also do a lot. And that is why the link towards multilateral processes and agencies such as a GEF are, of course, very important.
Well, could you elaborate on that, the relationship between your organisation and GEF and some of these international agreements and movements?
The GEF, in particularly the Global Environmental Facility, is now adopting here its next phase of work. The GEF 6 replenishment is being adopted and comes into implementation. What is really very positive is that in that replenishment there is a part really for cities. So there's a new funding line which is called an integrated approach pilot for sustainable cities. And that is really good because the GEF has understood as one of the agencies here, an important agency that is, of course, providing funding to work on climate change, on biodiversity, on a variety of other conventions, to bring in cities as an important actor for change.
Are there any actual pilot projects or any actual efforts underway that you could just describe for us?
Not yet, because that is now the point. We are here now in what you will see in the next months is definitely discussions with the GEF and, of course, with the various countries involved. What kind of parameters should these projects have? In my view, these projects should be of course, have an integrated approach. So looking at it not just from a specific climate sector or specific infrastructure sector, but looking at it from an integrated perspective and try to have as many co-benefits as possible. I would also think that another dimension is to have a participatory approach, so bring in stakeholders that are not usually involved in such projects, but bring them in so that you can actually get acknowledgement and responsibility, but also joint ownership on the ground of those things. Maybe also having several cities working with each other, and several countries therefore also, and maybe help there also in the level of government and governance to get to a new way of and new dimensions of cooperation in the field of environment.